Apparently you, the car enthusiast, if you want to go fast, an EV is the best possible option, and, well, people don't understand what's all this nostalgia about. And it gets better, because nobody wants a manual gearbox, apparently. Now, before you jump down my throat, those aren't actually my words. Those are the words of Tyrone Johnson.
Who?
Johnson just so happens to be the managing director of Hyundai's European Technical Center. Not only did he say that nonsense, but he also said nobody wants a manual transmission. Number one, this whole notion that if you want to go fast, the EV is the best option, and that he doesn't understand the nostalgia shows a deep misunderstanding of what drives enthusiasts. See, contrary to popular belief and what your local neighborhood Karen will say, going fast or speed is not all enthusiasts care about. In fact, if that was the case, Miatas wouldn't be popular, but they are, because what we like the way a car feels, how communicative the chassis is, how it sounds, how it smells, all of that sort of stuff all wrapped into one. Hell, if it was just about speed, yeah, we'd all go for EVs, but EVs are boring, soulless. They're fast as hell, but they don't really do it for a lot of us. And then there's the other part of the quote, the fact that he doesn't understand the nostalgia. I mean, yeah, you work for Hyundai and, well, they don't have a history that one would be nostalgic about. In fact, if you go back 15, 20 years ago, Hyundai wasn't the company we know today. They were making, well...
That is one big pile of shit.
However, not understanding why people get nostalgic about older cars is pretty shocking coming from an executive of a major motor company. Anyway, moving on to his next biblically stupid comment that nobody wants a manual gearbox, which is just categorically wrong. Now look, I am keenly aware of the fact that the overwhelming majority of vehicles sold come with some variation of an automatic transmission. That is because the overwhelming majority of car buyers look at cars the same way we look at a washing machine. They're tools to do a job. And that brings me back to this whole thing about going as fast as possible, or speed. We don't need to go as fast as possible when we row our own gears, when we're engaged with the driving experience. This is a lesson Porsche learned very well, i.e. they launched a GT3 lineup without a manual gearbox, and, well, the Porsche enthusiasts basically rioted to such a degree that Porsche ended up putting a manual transmission back in the GT3 lineup. Then, of course, there's the Supra. At first, it did not have a manual transmission, and the people revolted. And eventually, the Supra got a manual gearbox. The point remains that there is a strong enough market out there of people who actually care about having 3 pedals and a manual gearbox, that saying that nobody wants them is one of the dumber things to come out of an automotive executive's mouth in recent memory.